Hi friends, welcome back to Get Your Play Online. My name is Jalen, and for today's Try It Out Tuesday experiment, we're going to be making salt crystal leaves. So basically what we're going to do is dunk some leaves, or a leaf made out of a pipe cleaner like this one, into a saltwater solution and see how it crystallizes when it sits in the sun. So it's really cool. You'll get some awesome results like this, or maybe even cooler, bigger crystals. It depends on how long you wait. You can wait a long time, or you can kind of be a little impatient maybe and jump to see exactly what happens in about an hour. So without further ado, let's get into the experiment. The materials you will need for this activity are 2 mason jars. So one of these mason jars will hold the leaf that you picked from the ground or a bush or a branch, and then one of them will hold the one you've made with the pipe cleaner. Or if you're only making one, then just use one mason jar. You'll need clothespins. Of course, you'll need a leaf and or a pipe cleaner to make a leaf yourself. You will need yarn for the stems of the leaves. So I have 2. A saucepan to put your salt water in, and salt. I would recommend having a large amount of salt like this because it's going to be really salty water. The first step of this activity is to boil some water. So you want to have really hot water so that when you're pouring your salt in there, it will actually dissolve and turn into salt water. It will become one solution. So for each mason jar, you will need like 2.5 cups of water. So since I'm using 2, I'm going to pour 5 cups of water into the saucepan. And then you're going to put it on high heat and bring it to a boil. So put the heat on high and let it boil. Now that the water is boiling and all these bubbles are dancing in the pot, we're going to turn off the heat. And then we're going to pour in our salt and stir it so that it dissolves into the water, and that will create a saltwater solution. So for the salt, there's not a particular amount, a specific amount. You just want to pour a lot of salt and then stir it. And the way you'll know that your salt water solution is ready is when the salt does not dissolve anymore. That means there's as much salt that the water can handle in the solution. So when it doesn't dissolve anymore, that means you have a lot of salt, and that's what's going to make your leaves crystallize very nicely. Make sure to gently stir so that you're not splashing water, and that way nobody gets hurt or burned by the hot water because it was just boiling. Now you can see that this water is not dissolving the salt no matter how much I stir. And that's how you know that your salt water is salty enough and it's going to crystallize really well. So you might even have like a layer of salt crystals on the top of your water, but definitely if you start to see that salt is not mixing into the water anymore, that means you're good to go. We're going to let our salt water solution cool off for just about 5 minutes. we don't want it to be completely cooled off, but we don't want it to be so hot that it burns anybody. So you want to be able to handle it with caution or be careful. So while we're waiting on that, in the meantime, we are going to prepare our leaves to be dunked into the water. So first, you see how the stem of this leaf is not very long. So it might be hard to use the clothespin to place it in the water. So I'm going to add this yarn around the stem to lengthen it, to make it longer and easier to handle. I found that you don't even have to tie it if it's difficult. You can just wrap it around a few times and it will stay like this. And when you have it dangling like this, that means it's good. If you're using the pipe cleaner, then you can make any shape of leaf that you want, but I'm gonna show you how to make a simple shape similar to this with your pipe cleaner. It's very easy. So you just loop it around like this, and in order to secure the bottom part, you're going to press this around and squeeze it so it stays like that. And then to make it look more leaf-like, you're going to pinch the top, kind of pull out the side so that it's rounder. And now we have our leaves prepared. Now that we've got our salt water made and our leaves are ready to go, we are now going to really start the experiment. So first what we're going to do is pour the hot water into the mason jars. Now you want to be very careful while you're doing this because the water is still hot. It's not as hot, but it's still hot. So you want to make sure you don't burn yourself or anyone around you. So just fill the mason jar with the water. And now that your mason jars are full of water, we can go ahead and add the leaves. So I'm going to start with the pipe cleaner leaf. And for this one, you can attach yarn if you want to, if the stem is not super long. But if it's long like this, then you should be fine. So you're going to place it in the water like this. And in order to make sure that it stays still and stable like this, you're going to bring in your clothespin, this guy, and you're going to place it like that. Now, if you can help it, you want to make sure that the leaf is not touching too much of the sides or inside of the jar, and that's how you'll get really cool crystals, salt crystals formed on your leaf. So for my other leaf, I'm going to do something similar. So this time I'm using the yarn because the stem was a little too short. And what you'll do with these is put them in a sunny spot, like in the windowsill or something like that. And if you have enough salt water, you will start to see crystals forming in no time, like an hour. But if you want to see really, really cool and shapely results, then you can wait up to 2 to 3 days. So I will be back with results. So it has been about 3 hours and you can see little crystals starting to form around the leaves already. There's even this cool crystal just an accumulation, a big clump of salt right there. So this is just at 3 hours, but let's see what happens when we wait a few more hours, maybe 3 more hours, and we'll come back. Now that another 3 hours has passed, you can really see crystallization. You see how those crystals are sticking to the leaf? Really cool. So at this point you could take out your leaves, but since I have time, I'm going to probably wait until tomorrow to take it out just to see what kind of crystals we can get from leaving it in the window like this for about 24 hours. So I will be back again. Okay everyone, so it has been a little over a day, a little over 24 hours, and I went ahead and took out the leaves, and this is what they look like. So you can see all of these cool crystals formed on the pipe cleaner leaf. Pretty big crystals. And on the other leaf, they're pretty small, but you can still see how it crystallized. Very cool. And interestingly enough, this yarn right here crystallized quite a bit. These are very big crystals. So now you have completed your salt crystal leaves. So thank you for joining me today with Try It Out Tuesday. I hope that you actually do get to try this experiment out and let us know how it goes. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again soon on Get Your Play Online. Bye bye.